Okay, well, thank you very much, Mark. And I guess I'd like to start out by saying I'm sure everyone in the audience will agree that this has been another really outstanding set meeting, and I think we should all congratulate John Furtick, Claudio, and Marcelo, and the others who put this meeting together. I just hope they keep doing it for many years to come, and hopefully I'll be able to come back to this wonderful place. But I think we should give them all a big round of applause. So anyhow, I'm going to be talking on why the IMPROVE and other recent randomized controlled trials comparing EVAR and open repair for ruptured AAAs are misleading, and that EVAR is the best treatment if it can be done. I have no financial conflicts. Now, the idea of using endovascular tools in the management of ruptured AAAs is a concept we had since we did our first U.S. EVAR back in 1992. It's a long time ago. And our and other results suggested that EVAR improves treatment outcomes for ruptured AAAs. However, as has been pointed out by Josh, many say these good results are due to case selection, and some groups have had poor results with EVAR for ruptured AAAs, including 4 controlled studies which showed that EVAR results were no better than open repair results for these ruptured AAAs. And 4 of these controlled studies, not randomized trials, are shown here. The ones in white are older studies. The one in yellow at the bottom is from the Swedish registry data, which was published just recently. So it's fair to say that EVAR for ruptured AAAs remains controversial, and there are many out there who say we need a randomized trial comparing the 2 treatments of ruptured AAAs. And interestingly, the results of 3 randomized trials doing just that, comparing EVAR versus OR for ruptured AAAs, have recently been published and very widely presented and discussed. And these 3 trials together constitute level 1 evidence. The recent trials then that have been published and widely presented are the ECAR or French trial, the AJAX or Dutch trial, and the larger and more substantial and more widely quoted IMPROVE trial from the UK. And all 3 of these trials claimed that there was no difference in 30-day mortality and 1-year mortality between EVAR and open repair. However, that conclusion of all 3 of these randomized trials is, in my opinion, and hopefully your opinion as well, misleading. And here's why. The ECAR and AJAX trials were both small trials randomizing small numbers of patients, and very importantly, as shown in yellow, both excluded high-risk patients in shock and too sick for open repair. And that is, they excluded precisely those patients most likely to benefit from EVAR. And in addition, both of these smaller trials did not use optimally 3 adjuncts for improving EVAR results in ruptured AAAs, which we and others have published. We call it hypotensive hemostasis. It's more than permissive hemostasis because Mario Lachot tries to lower the blood pressure, so it's just not permitted to get lower. It's actively lowered, but the bottom line is intensive fluid restriction in these patients. There's still some that disagree with that, but we believe that that's a very important adjunct. The proper use of the aortic balloon, which Josh very nicely presented, and proper treatment of abdominal compartment syndrome, which includes proper diagnosis and treatment. And the Zurich group, Mario Lachot and Dieter Mayer, were instrumental in popularizing and systematizing this diagnosis and treatment, although we were the first to observe it rather anecdotally. And so for these reasons, I believe that the ECAR and AJAX trials reach a misleading conclusion that EVAR is no better. Now, the IMPROVE trial was a larger multi-center trial. It was very carefully done. The Brits are very good trialists. And the 30-day and one-year results were published in very prestigious first-line journals. And the main conclusion of these publications, in both of them, and I'm quoting here, was that a strategy of endovascular repair was not associated with significant reduction in 30-day or one-year mortality. That was in their conclusion of these papers. And this conclusion was widely quoted on the internet and in Vascular News, which is an important throwaway publication, as showing, and I'm quoting here, in the headline, no difference between endovascular and open repair. And in case you don't believe my quote, here it is in Vascular News. Big deal. It goes to 30,000 vascular specialists. And here's why this conclusion is misleading and wrong, in my opinion. The IMPROVE trial randomized 316 patients to endovascular strategy and 297 to open repair. And the 30-day mortality in the endovascular strategy group was 35%. In the open repair group, it was 37%. No significant difference, obviously. But you have to look at the details. You've got to read the papers very carefully. In IMPROVE, of the 316 patients randomized to endovascular strategy, only 154 actually had EVAR. That's less than half. The others had open repair and a few had no treatment, an important group. Of the 297 randomized to open repair, 220 actually had open repair, but 36 actually had EVAR. I put this in blue to emphasize it. This and the next slide are the important ones. Of the patients randomized to an endovascular strategy, 154 actually had EVAR, and their mortality was only 27%, whereas the 112 patients in that group actually had open repair, and their mortality was obviously higher at 38%. Of the patients randomized to open repair, 36 actually had EVAR, and their mortality was low at 22%, and 220 actually had open repair with a higher mortality, you don't need statistics for this, of 37%. When the two groups were combined, the mortality of all patients treated by EVAR was 25%. The mortality of all patients treated by open repair was 38%. Again, you don't need statistics, although the statistics show that those were highly significant differences. And when you add the mortality of patients treated by open repair or no treatment, it was obviously much higher at 44%, and that's important because open repair patients are more likely not to get treated. They're treated expectantly or conservatively, but they're basically left to die. So which treatment do you think is better, EVAR or open repair? Could have a vote. To me, it seems that the IMPROVE trial clearly shows that EVAR is the better treatment for ruptured AAAs if it can be done by whatever group is seeing the patient. And this conclusion is strongly supported by this Annals of Surgery article from 2012, which described a two-center study in Sweden and Zurich in which 100% of the 70 ruptured AAAs coming to the emergency room in those two hospitals were treated by EVAR, although a quarter of these patients required either a chimney, a periscope graft, or some other adjunct. And this 100% EVAR study showed only a 24% 30-day mortality, which was very good considering they're doing all the patients. And more importantly, as shown in green, it showed only a 4% turn-down rate. And that's important because in the literature, the turn-down rate, that is patients not treated with ruptured AAAs, is 20 to 30%, and in England it's even higher, going as high as 50%. So this 100% EVAR study, its results also support the same conclusion that EVAR is superior to open repair for ruptured AAAs if it can be done. And a conclusion I've added recently, because I feel this very strongly, is that randomized trials which constitute level 1 evidence, although they can be very good, They also can be not so good. They're not always infallible. They're not the holy grail that they're cracked up to be by many vascular people and purists and trialists and so forth. So anyhow, that's my idea on this particular topic, and thank you all for listening.